The routine of a seasoned gym goer can seem impossible. Trust me when I say I know fighting through those plateaus can be extremely discouraging without some form of help. So today, I'm going to show you the 5 parts of my lifting routine that help me and can help you to succeed and streamline your weightlifting goals. Getting yourself hyped up to lift is hard some days, so it's important to realize that creating gym habits starts before you even set foot in a fitness center. I've talked about it in other videos, but I'll say it again. Creating a gym bag full of all the supplies you need is more important than anything when it comes to starting out good gym routines. Keeping like all your deodorant, your shoes, your clothing, your shaker bottle, all right there in one place just helps you not even have to think before you walk out the door. Sometimes the only thing to push past mental fog can sometimes be just the action of grabbing and going. I mean, think about the alternative, not having everything in one place, having to individually grab everything and stuff your pockets full of crap that you don't want to carry around. Not having your things organized makes staying in bed a whole lot more enticing. So before your next gym session, set everything out, have everything by the door and hanging up on hooks so you can just walk out and not even have to think. One thing I haven't talked about though is tracking your lifts. And I hadn't really found anything that was a staple for broke college students like myself until I found Gains. Now, I'm not sponsored by Gains, but Gains is a fitness tracking app that's basically a lifesaver. It automatically tracks your progress and puts it on a little graph so you get to actually visualize the peaks and valleys of your performance. Now, I hadn't had anything like this in the past and I didn't really expect much from it, but since using it in September, I've actually skyrocketed in my progress and it makes things very easy. If you're someone who just kind of walks into the gym and haphazardly does things however you feel like it, you're not going to make the most optimal gains that you want. But if you have something like this, which takes barely any time to set up, you can make automatic routines and just plug them in every time, automatically visualizing what you want to see next. Seeing yourself grow in a way like that is very beneficial, and I highly recommend downloading the app. But even before the lift starts, you need to practice a crucial forgotten skill, the warm-up. I get that to most gym bros, this is a cardinal sin, right next to cardio and calisthenics. No warm-up, bro, this is gonna be light work, watch this. I'm not sure how warming up got such a bad rep in the gym bro / lifting community, but warming up is actually the best. It's been proven that only 5 to 10 minutes of stretching can actually reduce your risk of injury. It gets your heart pumping, and I actually feel a lot better after I get a small stretch in, especially on leg day. I mean, anything you can do, toe touches, arm swings, butterflies, anything to get that blood flowing into your system and get your body saying, hey, okay, it's lifting time, we need to get ready for this. However, it is worth noting that for lifters, dynamic stretches can be better a lot of the time. Because if you pre-stretch with static stretches that stretch out all your muscle fibers, you can actually maybe get even more injured. Because if you're doing a movement like RDLs or tricep pull downs, you're gonna be stretching your muscle all the way. And then if your muscle fibers are already pre-stretched, you can actually kind of promote somewhat of an injury. So that's something that you do need to take into consideration. Now, I know this next one's gonna make some of you furious, but here it goes anyways. No music. I know. At one point, I was certain that music was the fast track to having the best lift you could possibly have. But, hear me out. Music does not need to complete your workout. Once you get to a higher stage of lifting, you can actually excel further by not having music drowning out your thoughts in the background. In fact, music can actually be a distraction that hinders your strength. Not in a physical way, but mentally. Dialing into something other than how many sets or how hard should I push this, how many reps should I do of that, can actually hinder your growth by having you focus on something that's completely unrelated. Many would argue that once you reach a higher stage, things like breathing and allocating your rest times actually become an automatic response. But I would disagree. The whole reasoning behind a higher gym bro status is to have purpose with what you're doing. The whole reasoning behind all these habits is to actually build stability in what you're doing. Make the stuff that surrounds your lift automatic, but make the lift itself not just be going through the motions. You need to be very, very conscious when you're performing. I get that music can help you get that last grindy rep, but if you're intentional with your movements, you're breathing the right way, you're really feeling those contractions and building your mind-muscle connection, you can get 3 more reps consistently rather than 1 really good rep every now and then with the music playing in the background. Silent focus is actually the forgotten savior of most lifts because a lot of people don't have that factor when they have earbuds in. Yet none of these habits will help you more than the last thing I incorporated into my gym routine: clean eating. Now, you might not think of this at first, but it's the most obvious thing you can do. You see fitness influencers talking about it all the time, talking about meal prep, talking about what to buy at the grocery and all these things, but how often do you see people actually putting it into practice? I mean, sometimes it's just all for show. There's not really an intuitive way to know who's actually doing this, but I'll tell you straight up, I incorporated it for about a 4-month period straight of cutting out all excess sugars and excess fats from my diet and kind of replacing / substituting it with more protein and more water intake. Now, this was a hard time, like really hard. I had not grown used to this for a long time because I had eaten all this excess junk for forever. So trying to replace that starting out was really difficult. That meant I couldn't eat ice cream, I couldn't eat cake, I couldn't eat like cookies, I couldn't eat any of this extra stuff. And on those days where my school had fried chicken, I had to pass that up. It's really hard to say no to that kind of thing, but trust me when I say my gym progress skyrocketed after I implemented this. Suddenly, I felt better. I did better with cardio, I slept better. My performance overall just increased because I had nothing holding me back. I had nothing making me feeling bad, and I had nothing else stopping me from having a productive lift. Sometimes it's hard to watch a YouTube video and come away with something that's totally productive. So if there's one thing I want you to learn from this video today, it's that the most productive and most helpful things that you can add to your gym routine oftentimes are the most obvious and simple things. Take a second to visualize the idealistic gym rat in your head. They come prepared. They lift consistently without distractions. They stretch and they do their cardio. Most of the traits you can imagine aren't that far off from reality. It just requires you to understand that progress is defined by setting intentions and working hard. It's not hard to eat healthy, but it is hard for someone to sit down, put away all that enticing junk food, and stock a kitchen full of healthy snacks. An environment of success. That's the reason these gym habits changed my life. Not because they mattered that much on their own, but because they actually built an environment of success for me to thrive in. Use my experience as inspiration to build your own successful environment, and I promise you will go so much further than you could ever even have imagined. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.